We're going to see two quick videos really quick. The one on the left is of us doing a maneuver called the trail to diamond roll. You don't need to remember that. You just need to know that I'm the third one from the top. I'm in the sandwich. And it's the hardest maneuver for the number 3 right wing position to fly. I flew number 3 right wing. I tell my husband it's because I'm always right. And so that was my position. And when you watch this stuff from the ground, people would always be like, y'all are amazing. So smooth, so graceful. Look at you working together as a team. It must just be effortless. Look at the beauty. And so let's look at the beauty.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night
I miss that so much. It was a lot of work, and it was just so much fun. And it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a perfect combination of power and grace, all wrapped up into one amazing, career field. But what you don't see is what actually happens inside the cockpit. So what I want to show you, and I want to prep it before we play it, is the view from my helmet in the exact same maneuver, okay? So you're watching the same maneuver. The reflection of the helmet that you see is my helmet, so this is my video here. But what you're going to see, pay really close attention, please, is tons, countless, hundreds, thousands of very small movements. Very small adjustments to the throttle setting. Very small adjustments to the stick. Up, down, in, out, faster, slower. And all of us are doing that. Muscle memory. This whole time, the leader is actually talking to us. And it's interesting because, and I need to get a video for this, but bear with me for a second. He literally is singing to us. And what it would sound like on the radio would be, smoke on, ready, now. Smoke comes on. In with the pull. There's 4. Rolling left and rolling. And that's what it sounds like. And you think, why would he sing? As a team, it meant something, what our leader did. The rate, the tone, and the inflection that our leader used translated to a certain kind of muscle memory. Do we pull harder or softer at this point? Do we roll faster or slower at this point? Because remember, there's winds, there's turbulence. My leader, Kevin Robbins, was adjusting this whole time. And as he adjusted, we had to adjust as well. Small, deliberate, precise movements. And there's no sound on this, I apologize. I can assure you it's actually quite loud in the cockpit. But do you see the bouncing around? It's really not smooth at all. There's actually nothing smooth about what we did. And I'd argue when we're dealing with headwinds, and we're dealing with those things that we're going through and change that we're going through as leaders, we have to deal with turbulence. People say, oh my gosh, what happens when you fly in turbulence? So there were days that it really wasn't bumpy in the air. You've all been on airliners. You've experienced turbulence. We would still fly air shows in that. We're only 3 feet away from each other, going somewhere between 350 and 500 miles an hour. So how do you go through turbulence together? I'm going to give you a little secret. Don't tell anyone. We would promise each other that we would loosen our grip and we would fly loose. And I would say to myself in my head, wiggle your fingers and toes, wiggle your fingers and toes. When we would go through that turbulence together as a formation, instead of gripping with 5 fingers, over here in the F-16, over here in the F-15, instead of gripping it hard with 5 fingers, I would let go and I would fly with just 2 or 3 fingers. We would all do that. We would all loosen our grip and let go just a little bit, fly loose, wiggle our fingers and toes when we went through turbulence. Isn't that interesting? In the most difficult times, instead of grabbing on for dear life and not just going with the ride, right? We had to let the air take us in a way where it needed to go. If we had done this, we get into something called a PIO, pilot-induced oscillation. You overcorrect. When you start getting into these big changes, you have to have an extreme change the other way. And you can get into this thing where you're just back and forth and back and forth, and in fact, you make the turbulence you're going through much, much worse. And so I argue one of the things that you and your team can do is to make constant, small, deliberate inputs, all right? And so when we talk about changes in the culture around you, look, loosen your grip. There's just certain things you're not going to be able to stop, like Airbnb and Trivago. It's not going to happen, okay? Know your audience. Know why you do what you do. Nurture change with small inputs. And don't be afraid to just fly with 2 fingers, okay?